We'll go to Shannon, then we'll come up front and then go into the back to David. Get a mic back here to Shannon.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. Jeff, why do you think, I actually have two questions. Why do you think so many of the competitors say that what Jimmy's doing is bad for the sport, and for someone else to win the championship would be good for the sport?
Because they want to win. I think that there's probably two sides to it. I think that I tell Jimmy this all the time. In a way, kind of happened to me. In what he's going through is far more impressive than anything I ever did. But 10 years from now, or even 20 years from now, you'll look back on this time and go, wow, you'll just look at how impressive it is, how impactful it's been, to the sport, and how chances of it ever happening again are near impossible. And I think it'll be respected more, appreciated more, and probably looked at as a positive way. But right now, I think that people are looking at the ratings, people are looking at attendance, and trying to figure it out, what do we have to do to re-engage the mass of fans that we've drawn for so long. We've got incredible fans and avid fans, but it's obvious that those numbers are down. And we have more measuring tools and the more media outlets and all those things now. So we have ways of measuring it. I personally don't think it has anything to do with Jimmy winning 4 or 5 or 6 or however many he wins. But because I think each one that he wins makes it that much more challenging for the other ones to pull it off and to take that away from him. And I think it should engage fans in even more ways to be anxious to see somebody put that stop. And plus, he's building his fan base up while doing it because of how impressive it is. But I don't think there's anybody here in this room today that would disagree that if Dale Jr. was going for the championship, of what that would do for us. I mean, I think we all know that. Shoot, let's put Danica Patrick in there, as well. I mean, we all know what draws, the mass number of fans and what gets those spikes in there. But there's no control over that. And Jimmy and Chad and that 48 team are the best team out there, and they've shown it year in and year out, and they deserve what they've accomplished. And if you want it, you got to go get it. And that's to me the challenge to every other team, including myself out there, that has to happen. But I'm not sure who said that, but to me, I think that's somebody that just wishes things were reversed a little bit.
So my follow-up is, what was it like for you when people were saying this about you? That it would be better for someone else to win,
The one thing that I say that is different, because I get asked this a lot, and I have conversations, even with Jimmy and Rick Hendrick and other people, about this, is that, it just, I mean, my championship, my first championship came against Dale Earnhardt Sr. and that championship, it grew fans because at that point in the sport, that time, there was just a tremendous amount of growth that was happening, and me being so opposite of Dale, just being young and brought up in racing in a way where you had this camera presence and sponsorship awareness and all these things, and it was just total opposite of what Dale was and what he represented at that time. That it was growing his fans and their hatred towards me, and growing my fans and appreciation for that rivalry. So that carried to me for a while. And while there were a lot of fans out there that didn't like that we went on and won, 3 more championships, to me it didn't impact the sport in a way. But we weren't going through some of the economy things, and I don't know. I just think it's kind of a coincidence. It's really unfortunate, I think, for Jimmy, because I really hate to see somebody like that that's that good, that's dominated like that, that's done what they've done, and be put to blame for some things that's totally not his doing. And I just wish that weren't the case, because I think what he's doing, you got to put yourself in his shoes. What he's doing is unbelievable, and I think somebody should be applauded for that, and somebody should be recognized for doing such great things, not be have this kind of shadow on it that it's not good for the sport.
Okay, we may have time for 1 or 2 quick ones. Go ahead.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
I'm getting ready for you. How you doing?
Hi, Jeff. Julie Tam from NBC5 here in Dallas, Fort Worth. How exciting is this course going to be? Is this track going to be for fans this weekend?
I mean, this track has really turned into, just a fantastic track. When we first came here, it was a really, really challenging racetrack, fast. Transitions were really abrupt. It was hard to even stay out of the wall. But as the surface is worn, and as we've gotten the cars handling better at this track, it's to me just become one of the premier tracks. It's always been one of the premier facilities, if not the premier facility. There's no other place like this. But the racetrack itself has really come into its own to make great racing as well, and the grooves widened out, and so I think the fans are gonna see a heck of a show this weekend. Is pretty typical in Texas, but it seems like it gets better every time we come here.
Are we committed to one more question? Who had one more? Anybody? Caravello, we could get him the mic real quick, and then we'll let Jeff go.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. Hey, Jeff, having been in the same position that the Chase contenders are in right now, I mean, when you were in the thick of championship hunts as they came down to the end, how did you handle everything around it? Was there a temptation to kind of go into bunker mentality and shut everything out? Or, I mean, does it get easier as it goes along? But just between the ears, how do you handle the tail end of something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like in 97, well, I mean, in 04 when Kurt won, I guess we were in a pretty tight battle there. And, it's just different if you're leading versus whether you're chasing. To me, the advantage that Kevin Harvick has is he really has nothing to lose. He's kind of, the chaser there, and so they can really go for broke. There's really no threat of losing third. And so they just can really make gutsier calls. I think when you're the leader, you're on the fence there of you want to make sure you have fast race cars. But when it comes down to some of those gutsy calls, it's a coin flip whether you do it or not, and that hesitation can sometimes not work in your favor. So I think the real pressure and the toughest part is to be the leader in a tight group like this, in a tight battle. I think that the nice thing is they've done it for the last 4, and they've got great experience and confidence, and so if anybody can do it, they can. So it's I think it's unique for all of them. I know how bad Denny wants it, and as we mentioned, how bad everybody wants to knock that 48 off that pedestal, and so there's a lot of motivation. But each race that goes by, the intensity increases and the pressure increases because of how much is on the line. I mean, this is to those 3 guys. This is every single thing they've worked for their entire lives is to be right here in this position.
Jeff, thank you so much.